Hey there, RWBY fans. Welcome to another edition of the RWBY After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight, we are talking about Volume 4, Episodes 8 and 9, a much-needed talk, and 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I know I've said it before, but I will never tire of rocking out to this particular opening.
It's a pretty dang awesome opening.
It makes me so happy. Hi, everybody. How are we all doing tonight?
I am glad to be back.
Yay! It has been a while.
My
Mark's
head hurts.
Mark's just rocking out. For those of you listening on iTunes, you could not see the amount of head rocking he was doing.
But you can hear the donk,
it was hardcore.
donk
Yeah,
of
my
him hitting
nose.
his mic.
Yeah.
It was hardcore, though. Hey there, RWBY fans. I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We are going to be covering Volumes 4, Episodes 8 and 9 tonight. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. To my left, Mark Donica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark B. Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. A whole bunch to talk about this. I'm really excited. We can never seem to have an episode with a full panel or any sort. We've had a different panel every single episode of RWBY ABTV. To my left, the one and only, is Ms. Katie Cullen.
Holy cow, you're right.
Isn't that
about
sad?
both of those facts. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. We have the hashtag RWBYABTV. We have the live chat if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, why aren't you? Join us.
And sadly, Patrick Dees couldn't join us tonight, but be sure to tweet at him at P to the D's on Twitter.
We split the party. He's still stuck in the mountains on the way to
Yeah,
Mistral.
guys, we split up. That was a terrible idea. No, only terrible things happen when you split up.
A horror movie.
Or episode of Scooby-Doo.
Actually, when people split up in Scooby-Doo, it's filled with shenanigans and fun, and usually a fun musical montage of some sort.
Splitting up in a horror movie is how people die.
Yeah,
horrible.
Like a lot. Like
especially
all the time.
when one of them is already injured.
Ooh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, guys, it's been a bit. It's been 2 weeks since the last one, and we actually have 2 full episodes to talk about tonight. We're not just touching on one episode and then a World of Remnant.
That's a rarity this season, isn't it?
Oh, what a world! And supposedly, word on the street is they're going to be debuting the finale at RTX Australia, which means that we have one more World of Remnant to go. And last season it happened after episode 9, so we might be getting another World of Remnant this week, and then episode 10, and then so on and so forth.
Nice. These are good things to hear. Since we are talking about 2 episodes, I want to know, how do you guys feel about these 2? Because I actually feel like these 2 go really well together, like as a back-to-back sort of situation.
They do. When you watch them back to back, as I did again this afternoon, they flow like one long story, and that works really well. And that's going to work really well on the DVD cut when we get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that we had an exposition dump. We've been overdue for the season's requisite exposition episode.
And with episode 8, it seemed like the in-universe after show of all of the World of Remnants. Because that's where everybody got to sit around and go, hey, what does this mean? And questions in this, and they got to expand on things and talk to one of the storytellers. It was kind of weird how, and I'm not saying that we totally did this, but this is a joke. Reminder, this is a joke. How we totally influenced that RWBY did an after show for its own gimmick. But yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, the only thing that they were missing was a desk and microphone.
I mean, close enough.
Speaking of influence, have you noticed that all sorts of different media now does that shadow puppetry flashback ever since we got Harry Potter doing it? Like, they did it in Deathly Hallows, and it was the most amazing thing ever, and now, 5 other shows I watch
Harry
have
Potter
done it.
didn't invent it either.
I know.
that sort of filming animation has been around for a long time.
I am aware Harry Potter gave it its resurgence.
Although, we should definitely need to talk about what kind of exposition Crow did dump, but knowing this story now, I look at the shadow people very differently.
especially after meeting our first reptilian member of the White Fang as well.
Yes, exactly.
There are things and
they're everywhere.
It's kind of terrifying.
Season 1 limitations.
Yeah.
Season 1 limitations.
Plot twist at the end all for this series is this god of darkness coming with his army of shadow people to try to take over.
God, don't make them canon.
I just to see this god of darkness with like a little house cat Grimm sitting in his arms and him just petting it and monologuing.
Oh, come on,
Like, I
Dr.
need that in my
Claw.
life.
We're going Inspector Gadget and Dr. Claw.
We're going James Bond.
Sure.
We're going Godfather. We're going. Come on. There are
Did the
many,
Godfather
many.
have a cat?
Yeah,
Grimfather.
yeah, it was a completely improvised scene because there was a cat on the set for some
That
reason.
sounds like something Marlon Brando would do.
And
Absolutely.
Marlon Brando picked it up and just delivered the monologue while petting the cat.
He does that. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, let's. Marlon Brando is a very interesting actor, guys. Anyway, let's talk about this story that we get because, and it's funny because we talk about Ruby like a lot. We talk about it a lot. You kind of forget that these kids who have been on their way to Haven don't know the full story. They don't know about the maidens. They don't know the full deal about warriors with silver eyes. So
We don't know the full deal
Yeah.
about
we
warriors
don't
with silver
either.
eyes.
We don't either.
Speculation.
But but we get to sit and talk about it. We don't have to worry about constantly fighting Grimm so much that we don't have time to ask these questions.
No, we live in LA. We constantly fight traffic.
Yeah, a lot of time with your thoughts when you fight traffic. But anyway.
Saw that 1,000-yard stare.
Anyway, so yeah, we get a full explanation for them, and poor Jean, he's only now coming to the realization that that's what was happening with Pyrrha, and of course he's livid. Like it's
He's that quiet, angry.
yeah, it's just that it's such a different side of him because he's been, the lovable goofball for so long. Who's trying his best to be, what everybody thinks he can be. But yeah, now, with Pyrrha gone and him now knowing kind of the full story behind it, I'll be very interested to see, the type of leader that he becomes eventually, because I feel like more and more he's learning that the authority that, he used to look up to, they're not going to be there
human
for
and
him.
fallible.
Yeah.
Well, really quickly, Carolyn Grant in the chat mentioned, I heard the two brothers may represent the Brothers Grimm, which I didn't put two and two together. That's really flippin' funny.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's been a long couple of weeks.
That's definitely been one of the main theories being spun around by people.
But
for
also,
sure.
when it comes to Jean, he is as you go, oh, he's Joan of Arc. How's that going to work? Here's this plucky kid who may not necessarily ever grow into his own body, a perpetual human child, as Patrick likes to say, about himself. And now we have why don't we tell everybody? So here comes the herald of talking about gods and talking about this. So he's going to start fulfilling that prophecy of Joan of Arc
What
and
if
be
one of
that
the-
crazy person.
See,
What
the
if
thing
one
is,
of those
Joan
gods
of
starts
Arc,
talking to him?
like God talked to her. That was the mythos. So
Yeah, so, no, they're
you wanna
using that-
completely go for it.
but
At some
they're-
point, God's going to be like, hey, let's
here-
talk about this.
But I mean that in the sense of telling people about the word of God. If this story is something that isn't wildly circulated, he's going to try to perpetuate it because he thinks it would help people if they were performed. He's going to be called a pariah. He's going to be called crazy. And then he's already started hearing voices with Pyrrha. Soon that might be an actual thing.
Well, and Cinder likes setting people on fire.
Oh.
And disintegrating them.
Oh, it's too soon, guys.
Is it?
It's like a year
Is
ago.
it really? It's been a year.
Move on. That's what I'm hearing. So yeah, we get this, and I like the way that Crow framed it too, because we're constantly thinking of all of this stuff as fairy tales, and this is a fantasy setting. And I loved the way he put it because it was a very Final Fantasy thing to do, bringing religion into it. Like, for some reason, religion wasn't a thing that existed in my mind when it came to Remnant, just because, you're fighting creatures of darkness in, like, a real thing. For some reason, it just didn't occur to me that there would be hard, beliefs like we
Spiritual
have
implications.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really see a lot of that, and it's not very much of a presence. We don't see anyone mention anything like that. Usually if we get an indication of any spirituality in a given fictional world, it comes via a character.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had
We haven't
anyone
met
talk
any-
about it until the exposition dump.
Yeah, we haven't met any paladins in this world.
Not yet.
No,
It'll happen.
not yet.
I would be 1,000% down for a paladin. Oh my god.
For a Ruby paladin. Oh yeah, didn't somebody made a Ruby role playing game? Remember
Yes,
at RTX?
they gave me a copy. I have it. We need
Are
to
there
play.
paladin classes in it?
No, there's hunters and huntresses.
That's
Huntsmen and
cool.
huntresses.
That's cool.
Sick burn.
Yes, let me just build a paladin in here. Let me pull open
I don't
my
know how
5e.
role playing games work.
Let me pull open my 5th edition
okay.
handbook and see what I can jury rig.
Anyway, so about this origin story about a brother of light and a brother of darkness, you know, it's such an interesting thing to bring this sort of thing into the world of Remnant. And I kind of like, too, that they worked together to create man. Like, it wasn't just constant warfare. They were able to come together one more time and create man. And now we have an explanation for the relics as well as being actual physical embodiments of, you know, these different powers of creation and destruction and light and darkness. And you hand them to schools, and I get it in this world it makes sense, but at the same time I'm like, I feel like there was a far better way to go about doing that, but
Well,
that's only
them
because Beacon's fallen at this point.
Well, and that took a massive undertaking. Like, that was essentially a Xanatos gambit in some ways. Like, there's no way you could have planned that this would work out, and that, you did.
Except it actually did, yeah.
All right.
So which of the relics do you guys think is at Beacon?
One of the 4.
Which one do you think spoke to Ozpin in particular?
I mean, if he was in charge of, yeah.
But it was Ozpin's predecessor who helped build.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it wasn't Ozpin in particular, but technically, as we're learning from the Boy of Two Souls, the Man of Two Souls thing, Ozpin and his predecessor may have been one and the same.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So
I'm gonna go with probably.
Very interesting.
We have someone in chat brought something up, and Blake Belladonna in chat says Jean the Baptist. You laughed at a pun.
But it's a Catholic pun.
those are okay. Those have been ordained by the Pope. I can laugh at those. Gee darn it.
Talking about this, it's kind of also nice too to kind of get the origin story of the world of Remnant, you know,
Yeah.
like an in the beginning. And that brings me to the question that I want to pose to the panel. What is your guys' favorite origin story? It can be a creation story like we got here, or it could be a character origin story too.
Good Lord, I don't. Because it's on my mind, I really like Percy's backstory in Critical Role.
Nice.
It is this awful, awful mess of being raised a bureaucrat and then your entire family getting destroyed by vampires and going on this long revenge quest. And I'm like, this is terrible. I love it. Give me more.
One that doesn't get told in media very often. Spider-Man. Kidding.
I was gonna
That's
say.
it's a joke. It's totally a
we
joke.
have cosplayers posing with boxes of Uncle Ben rice at this point. That is an origin story that is done, if you will, to death.
And Batman, and his parents. Though that's a better. I think that's also an equally as entertaining cosplay. People cosplaying as Thomas and Martha Wayne, walking up to Batman cosplayers,
And then falling down.
And just
I
falling
love
down
when they
dead.
do that.
But sticking the comic roles, one that just always sort of appealed to me is I've always been a big fan of Hal Jordan's story.
Yeah.
He's trying to be a crackshot pilot like his dad. He never quite lives up to it. He keeps crashing these planes. And something not somebody going, "Hey, you're gonna be something someday, kid." A galactic herald says, "You have been chosen," and it's like, oh wow, I guess there's which essentially makes me feel like there is a place for everybody, whether it's specifically here, somewhere else in the world, somewhere else in the galaxy. There is a place for you where you can be the best person that you could possibly be.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Now I'm going to feel like a total idiot for saying it, but I actually do like Spider-Man.
Which one?
OG.
Okay.
OG. I grew up with a 90s cartoon, so, I mean, it's the same origin story. Just the fact that his own hubris is ultimately what cost him the most and then having to live with that for the rest of his life and constantly trying to make up for it. I think that's a very compelling one. It's been, as you guys said, done to death, but I like the bare bones of what's there. Anywho,
We've got a few
lot of pro
responses in
wrestling
chat.
involved.
Yeah, I wanna
Becca
hear what
Lee
they have to say.
says Marvel 616 Quake. Malachroma likes the entirety of Homestuck. K-Bit says One Piece. I require specifics. Which character? it's the sad backstory Olympics in One Piece,
I was gonna say,
I really
everyone-
want to know.
everyone has a sad backstory.
As she says, where
Aragon
everyone
in
and your dog
general.
has a backstory.
Yep. I like Zoro's.
Aragon, Fairy Tale. I like Brooks, but that screws me up all the time.
It's really good.
Sad
Anyway,
child.
yeah, and please leave it in the comments below. We
Yeah.
want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, he tells this story, and then we find out what his semblance is. And why, because I was getting angry at him for not just like being with them and for constantly hanging back. I'm like, what purpose does that serve? It actually does serve a purpose in his own mind, because his semblance, in his mind, I don't know if it's actually true, is bringing misfortune to those around him.
I think my favorite interpretation of this that I've seen was actually a post floating around Tumblr, like in the style of a reality TV show. Crow saying, oh, my semblance is bad luck. I bring misfortune to people I care about. And then, it cuts to a camera interview with Raven. I've been messing with him since he was 10.
But speaking to that, do you think that the blackbird that was there was Raven?
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm at the point where every time they show a bird in the show, it's one of them. It could be a macaw, and I'll still be like, it's one of those guys. Jose's going to come put on
A little
show.
parakeet.
That's Ozpin.
Oh, we miss you, Ozpin.
I mean, he's around.
Yeah.
He's hanging out.
He's just in the body of a prepubescent boy.
Teenage.
That came out wrong.
No,
I was going to say, hashtag no context theater.
it came out very wrong. But you know how badly, you've been poisoned badly when not only are you bleeding purple, but you're also coughing up purple.
Well, that means
That's-
the poison has completely taken over your bloodstream.
Yeah, at that point,
That's
you
bad.
are poisoned.
That's
super
bad. You're living on poison. Your entire
blood
body
should
is
not be
choking.
purple.
No, well, I mean, technically it is until it oxygenates, whatever. But yeah, the boy's not doing so well.
Like, you should not be purple.
No.
You shouldn't.
Get that grimace out of here.
No, and sadly, this leads, and then we get very Lord of the Rings in terms of Fellowship. And I don't know about you guys, when I read Fellowship of the Rings, I swear this bit after Frodo had been stabbed and they were trying to travel to Rivendell, I swear it took forever in the book.
Fellowship the musical did it the best.
Like very, very quickly in the span
Yeah,
of
it's
a
like
musical
90
montage.
seconds.
Yeah, it was great. It took forever in the book. And so, like, them carrying him, trying to get to the next town where you see, town names scratched out on signs. It's like, oh, they're going to be at this for a while.
Maybe.
And then, now I wanted to get your guys' take on why Ren and Nora refused to go through that particular town. Do you think that is the town where he came from? Like,
Yep.
before his parents left?
I am like 95% certain that that's where he came from, and that it was cratered because it was scratched out on the sign, and because we saw the giant. I'm starting to think they have like a giant minotaur or something running around, because what is that footprint?
Yeah.
On the way there, and it's the same one that was in the town, and he recognized it. So I want to say that there's nothing left.
Is that like a giant, like, Shadow of the Colossus sized Grim then? Or is that like still just the symbol of a group of bandits?
Someone's semblance is to just make a very large footprint.
It's possible.
That's what they do with their lives. Bam. Kilroy
possible.
was here.
Yeah, it seems like I don't know if it's cratered. Maybe it's a nest now, sort of a thing, and that's the big thing that they have to overcome.
I feel like if that were the case, he would have warned them. Like, if it's emotional baggage, that's why he was being like, no. But if there was actual, honest to God, you are going to run into a ton of grim danger, he would have told him, no, we can't go that way, and this is why.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It's just sad that the group has to split up.
I don't think I don't think this is like the last time we're going to see Ren and Nora. I think they're going to make the save.
Oh yeah,
whatever
no.
episode it might
in
be.
a way, I am not at all worried about Ren and Nora because Nora. I'm not.
In a way, I am absolutely worried about them because we saw what Tyrion can do. He's still out there.
He's still out there without his tail, and he's probably mad as hell.
But
Yeah.
he did say she'll forgive you,
So he
which made me
probably
think
ran
that he's
back home.
going straight back.
With his tail between his legs.
And if
What's
we
left of it, anyway.
we do kind of have an idea of where Tyrion's going to end up. I'm not going to say why or where, so that you can go back and watch our episode where we had Josh, the voice of Tyrion, call in, and he told us a little bit about the future of Tyrion. So go back and watch
Yeah.
that episode so that you can get yourself clued in.
Please
Yeah.
do.
Do the thing, win the stuff.
Do the thing. It was a lot of fun talking to him, too. He's such a fun guy. Like, scorpion on the face, though. Like, oh, that story will haunt me to my dying
I made
day.
the clips just for you. Just for you.
I
Scorpion,
appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, so in a way, I'm not worried about them. But as we pointed out at the beginning of the episode, it's always a bad idea to say, let's split up, gang. That's never a good thing.
There's a whole song about don't you know you never split the party. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea.
It just overcomplicates things for your dungeon master, really.
It does.
And everybody's there a lot longer.
Yeah, it's rough.
Why
You're
overcomplicate
sitting there
things?
eating popcorn and finding the last Mountain Dew while someone else is having their vision quest.
I'm just really worried about Jean and Ruby getting outnumbered. Like, I know that
Oh,
they can
yeah.
hold their own, but you get a big enough horde in there, that's going to be really hard to defend against.
And they have to
while
defend
an injured,
Crow.
Yeah, while there's an injured person there.
I hate it.
Yep.
I
Which
hate
makes me
accompany
think
missions.
that they might get overrun, and then Raven might actually come in and save.
Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one.
We're vaguely related. This is yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Why not?
also theirs because obviously they're your hanger-ons.
Maybe, but yeah. So that was kind of Ruby's side of the story. Before we move on, I want to talk to you guys really quickly about iTunes.
Nice.
Folks, thank you so much for everybody who's gone to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys, and it is the best way to let our producers know that you like the show that we put on, that keeps us here at these desks, it keeps the lights on. And if you do, you get a shout out on the show. Do we have any new reviews?
We have two.
Yay!
We have A Gateway to the World of Ruby Fandom from David Jackson. The reviews are great, the conversations are awesome, though they do tend to get off topic every so often, and even then I'm interested, and the guests are great. However, I think my favorite part about this after show is the introduction to so many other things. It was from here, for example, that I was introduced to one of my favorite Ruby-related things of all time, Matt the Mammoth Rider. Mammoth Rider recaps, you guys. Amazing. Thank you for that. P.S. Love you, Kiaxet. Don't care what the Mengwan says or how hard she boos. Never stop punning. Hey!
How did you have that ready?
It's an application on my phone so that I can
That's
just queue it up
amazing.
whenever I need
Air
it.
horn. God
Yeah.
bless. And we have awesome hosts from our friend Miss K. Rose.
Yay!
She's on the
Why
tear.
I keep coming back to the show are the hosts. It's clear that they are fans of the show, and it makes it so much fun to listen to. It feels like hanging out with friends talking Ruby, and I love it.
Thank you guys.
That is
Just one.
what we go for.
Just, God, shut up.
Horn, horn.
This is why
Horn.
no one can have that much power.
Says you.
But no, thank you guys so much. It really does mean a lot to us when you take the time to rate and subscribe and say the wonderful, nice things that you do. And, outside organizations also pay attention. That's one of the reasons why we have been able to get guests in the past and how we hope we can keep bringing you guests in the future.
We had a couple in the bag.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
hoping for. Just waiting to hear back.
Just fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. So yeah, let's go on down to Menagerie and talk about Blake kind of reconnecting with her family. I don't know about you guys, but this Blake talking to her dad really hit me where it hurt.
Yeah.
Like just like the fact that she has like all this guilt, because everybody's like that rebellious teenager. At one point you think you're right and your parents are wrong, and then later on you come to the realization that no, I was the one that was wrong, and you have to kind of face that at some point, and having to face that with yourself is one thing, but having to face them after something like this, I can imagine how she feels, and it's heartbreaking. Like you understand why she's been away from home for so long.
Yeah. And I guess she called her parents cowards, she insulted them, and then she ran away with someone who proved to be a terrible life choice.
Daddy, we're in love. He loves me. That's why he wants to murder me. There is such a thing as loving too much. Adam Torres, boy, you gotta sit down with your bespectacled friend. Just talk your feelings out, man.
Yeah,
It'll
for
help
sure.
everybody.
For sure.
Adam is horrifying.
But yeah, I mean, that is a terrible thing because basically that is what happened. She said, "You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, Mom and Dad.
wrong, Mom and Dad."
I'm gonna go off with this guy who understands me."
And then she comes back and is like, well, he was murderous. We became terrorists. I left. I made some friends. And then I left.
Well, not.
I'm home to visit.
Side note, I would love to hear Son's version of the adventures that they've all had as he's regaling their adventures to
Somebody
her mom.
please just poke Michael. No, don't actually do this.
He'll
I just
say
need
Swiss
like
effing
5
cheese.
minutes of Michael as Son just talking about all of this.
You just made me think that Son's gonna be the new World of Remnant guy, and instead of it being like really nice art, it's gonna be like Caboose style, like
Cabooses
crayons
Guide to
and
Making
stuff.
Friends.
Yeah, it's gonna be just. I mean, it's gonna be very entertaining, but it's gonna be a completely different change of pace. But as that's getting darker, the World of Remnants needs to get lighter.
Oh no.
That's okay. That's fine.
Everything's okay.
Everything's
Happens all the
okay.
time, no worries.
But yeah, and so I absolutely loved this really emotional scene between Blake and her dad. Like I said, it gave me all the feels.
And it was nice to have a conversation with them and to see why Blake was so nervous about seeing her parents again and why they're just really happy to see her in general.
Well, I mean, after we learned that her dad was a former head of the White Fang, you know,
Yeah.
that already was like, we're gonna get a little bit of some awkwardness here.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be interesting to hear a little bit more as time goes on about why he decided to leave, because was it did he decide to leave, or was it like a council of people around him going, you're not really aligned with our mission statement anymore?
Well, it seemed like from
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
it seemed like his reaction to all of the goings on was just like, oh, it's just the Fennec brothers. It's just this, it's that. So he seems to still have what they want him to hear in his ear. So I feel like it was amicable because they know how much power he actually holds, whether it's
Yeah.
politically or physically.
That's a good point. But yeah, we also get
There is
introduced.
no war in Bossing Say.
But Sun is also kind of constantly eavesdropping. And guys, I'm going to put it out there again. I'm starting to get suspicious of him. He could very well just be, and I'm going to say it until they say one way or another. But like, he could just be a friend who's overly concerned and doesn't have boundaries, or has issues with boundaries, or he could very well be a spy.
I'm going to head this off at the...
What?
The fact that you hate your own idea so much that you were barely even at the tip of wanting to say it. It's just like, I don't like it. But I mean, it's probably not that. It's probably not. Just don't listen to me.
Well, and I'm going to head this argument off at the past. Like, well, he couldn't be a spy because he got stabbed and this and that and the other. Guys, red versus blue, how many bullets did Felix take from Locust? Like, how many times did that happen?
A spoilery
You have
amount
to
of bullets.
commit to
I was
the
going to say,
bit.
yeah, spoiler.
A
for
spoilery
anybody
amount
who's
of
not-
bullets. I just watched.
not
I watched Mercs again today. God, that's a good
Isn't it
trilogy.
so good?
That's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
But yeah,
Talking about
you
beautiful
have to-
animation.
you have to commit to the bit.
That is true.
So, this doesn't mean that he's not.
Although,
Also, oh my God,
I think everybody's
I'm
saying
annoyed
he's
at
too
him.
dumb to be a spy. Everybody in
That's-
chat.
yeah.
that's
have
what the
to
perfect
commit to
spy
the
does,
bit.
guys. That's why you would never suspect him.
You
but
have to commit to the bit.
We get introduced to another character, as you pointed out, the first kind of like chameleon.
Well, first
She's
reptilian.
chameleon.
First
Yeah.
reptilian Grim.
The first
Grims.
reptilian.
I did that last time too.
I
Faunus.
tell it all the time.
Faunus.
It's not good.
Faunus. I love her design. Oh my goodness.
Yes, and she's voiced by Jeremy.
She's voiced by Jeremy Lee, who if you guys don't know, she's a great voice actress. She's the latest. She's in Fairy Tail. She's in Sword
Who's
Art
she in Fairy
Online.
Tail?
She's currently Sailor Venus, isn't
Yeah,
she?
she's
And
the current Sailor Venus for the new
she's
Wisdom.
Lucy in Fairy Tale.
She's Lucy?
I think so.
Well, damn.
Yeah. So
What
they
a
got
get.
again Rooster
She's
Teeth knocking it
good.
again. Rooster Teeth knocking it out of the park, getting these great vocal talents to come in on this project.
Well, I'm sure Michael's also being like, hey, guys, come on. Whenever he's in there doing stuff for Funimation, he's like, guys, come on. We got good food down here. We got torches. We got whatever. Just come on.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
It'll be a good time.
I feel
There'll be
like for
pizza.
this one, she recorded it in the booth and just sent it to Austin.
Probably, but
Unless we're getting more from her the rest of this season, but she has exited stage left, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her till next volume.
But again, I absolutely love this design. It's so cool. And again, I have a lot of questions about her relationship with Blake. You know, how close of friends were they? Were they even friends? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were frenemies. Who knows?
According to Malachroma on Twitter, Amatola, Ilia's surname, is a Native American name meaning rainbow. Very fitting for a chameleon girl.
Ooh. Is that what you were about to say?
Yeah, I thought I was on Twitter for Twitter Watch. So I was like,
I'm on
nope.
both. I'm multitasking.
I'm just going to throw this on the...
That just
and not
shows how
take-
good of a comment it is. Yep. So yeah, any thoughts or theories about what this kind of reunion means for them later on? Because she straight up told her you shouldn't have come back.
Carolyn also points out in the chat her weapon resembles a chameleon's tongue.
Didn't
this.
it electrocute
whole
him
design,
too?
though. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Again, and I think my favorite thing is just the ponytail is what replicates the chameleon's tail as well.
Yes.
That made me happy.
She didn't have the weird eyes, though. That probably would have...
Stay with that.
Probably
Not
would've been
gonna
a little
lie,
much.
I kind of thought that's why she was wearing a mask. I was just picturing these really big googly eyes.
Okay, she's
not?
faunus, not furry.
Not even remotely
You
the same.
only get one trait from the animal. Only one. She got the color change.
You only trade once.
I think this is the closest we're getting to like a Mystique type character.
Yes.
Yeah, I love. Oh gosh, it's gonna be so cool. All right, is there anything else we want to touch on for Blake's story? I guess the only other thing is that like she's still carrying so much guilt about what happened to Yang because when Sun gets injured, her response isn't like, oh, I'm gonna get you help. It's not again.
Not another
not
one.
again. So.
She can't have nice things.
Crow being in the same episode as her brings her bad luck.
That's cool.
I love the conversation with her dad, like, your outfit doesn't cover very much. Wow.
Is it warm? Is it warm there? Oh.
I'm being subtle.
Oh.
And the
Such a
fact that
dad.
we didn't get an answer as to why did you leave?
Yeah. So
Because interrupting Sun.
yeah, she didn't answer that for her dad, and then sure enough, by the end of her part of the story, she's like I said, screaming not again. And so yeah, there's tons and tons of guilt there, which brings us to next storyline. Yang and Tai Yang.
You really could have gone to either of the two if
Really,
you're
that's true.
talking about guilt.
That is very true. That is very true. But Yang training with Tai Yang and actually getting a really good handle on working with a robot arm. I absolutely loved seeing the two of them spar together.
I have to say this because talking about guilt, Malachroma in chat saying, not another sexy blonde with killer muscles. Why?
Sure.
She has a type.
You are on fire tonight. Speaking of on fire,
Put
let's
yourself
continue
out.
to talk about Yang.
Now, I wanted to. What did you guys think of Tai Yang as a teacher? I thought it was incredible. Like, I think he's actually probably the best type of teacher for Yang in this
Well,
particular moment.
And he knows her inside and out, and she kind of needed the come to Jesus talk regarding, look, you have a bazooka in your back pocket. You can't rely on it all the time. Eventually someone will out bazooka you, and then hey.
And then
this
boom, you
happens.
have a robot arm.
Yep.
I'll just blow her arm off. It seems really, and this isn't a put down. This seems really Dragon Ball Z to me. It's like you're relying on that one thing way too much. Let's get it to where you don't even have to go Super Saiyan in order to take on these people. It was a very good point. I like how he pointed out her similarities to Raven. I like how he is the opposite of Raven.
Yes.
And
Very
she
much.
needs that in order to grow. She needs to be more in touch with her dad's side to learn what type of a person she's actually going to become, because everybody is still developing here.
Yeah, and he brought up a really good point of like her using her semblance as a crutch in order to win her fights, and you know, maybe brute force isn't the best way to solve all of your problems. You know, if you look at it another way, you can go around Zwei.
I mean, it looks awesome, not gonna lie, but group up and hit it till it dies is kind of a lowest common denominator strategy. It really is.
But also, speaking to her fight specifically at the tournament, the world has seen her be unnecessarily violent, going back to season 3 and what she quote unquote did to Mercury. So being able to not play to that strength, being able to not play to that expectation is a really smart idea strategy wise. Because people think she's just going to run in, I'm just going to take out everybody's ankle, I'm going to break everybody's legs. Let's not do that.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point for when she gets at a certain point in her training where she can go out and look for Ruby, or, you know, go out and look for her other teammates. Yeah, the world probably won't receive her very kindly because, oh, it's that chick that broke that guy's leg for no reason.
Right before everything went to hell.
Right before everything went to hell, yeah.
I think that will change once we get the full-on, by the way, here's the villain's world, he's one of them. If we ever get that.
Yeah.
But I feel like reputation problems are kind of the least of our problems.
Yeah,
right
I mean, I think the worst is that, like, maybe some folks try to start trouble and, you know, she gets into a fight because people are trying to run her out of town. Maybe that's what happens. But yeah, I think that's fairly low.
First.
I feel like that's fairly low on the totem pole at this point, yeah. But like I said, you bring up a very good point with that. And I like seeing Yang learn and grow and accept the, you know, the constructive criticism. Because, yeah, when your semblance is throwing a temper tantrum, it would probably be really easy to not accept constructive criticism.
Well, and I think that's probably the first time she's heard it phrased that way. And coming from anyone else, she probably would have been super offended, but it's Dad.
That's
who
true.
has seen her have honest-to-God temper tantrums. And it's just like, yeah, you're doing the thing, and you need to not.
And for the Punmeister General, how could she take everything so literal? Just like, your balance is off. Oh, no, I mean, it's pretty light. Like, how could she just take something that a blood relative said at face value in terms of, like, not looking deeper into it?
Because they were in the middle of combat, and it's a whole getting used to the arm thing. So if that's where your mind is and someone says that, you're like, no, actually the balance is pretty good. Like, that's what you're thinking. And like,
There is always
no, I'm
time for a
talking
pun.
about your soul.
Yang always has time for a pun.
Yeah.
So I
She's a bit of a pundit.
I love. I'm gonna take it away from the puns and talk about how much I liked seeing an actual training sequence, because I feel like we haven't gotten that since Jean was training with Pyrrha, and we started talking a little bit offline about training scenes in general and training montages, and I want to know, what is your guys' favorite training scene and or montage? Because Patrick felt the need, guys, he wanted the world to know about his love for Rocky IV. So just throwing that out there.
Rocky won.
He
then.
claimed all of the Rockies in that text thread.
He's very gritty.
That girl ain't here. I'm saying Rocky. Yo, there's nothing like a little bit of Eye of the Tiger or Hearts on Fire. That movie, the Rocky movies, made training montages a thing.
Yes,
so
they did.
it's hard to not go with where you started, but I'll have an actual answer. But that's just always the first thing that comes to mind.
We've got like 3 people in chat where this is their first stream with us.
Hi!
What up?
Welcome to the show. It's my favorite. I'm gonna go with the South Park montage song. The way they use it in Team America and the way they use it in the skiing episode. That's what I'm gonna call dibs on.
We got
Boitano do.
We got Cam Griffin posted Sun's first World of Remnant. It's all
Abs.
it's about abs.
God bless America.
So if you go to #RubyABTV, you can take a look at this sneak peek at this exclusive first look at Sun's first World of Remnant. Thank you
It's
at
beautiful.
Cam_Comedia.
That is amazing.
I think my favorite montage is in the first Iron Man, where he's trying to figure out the suit and trying to figure out the thrusters and putting things together. I love it.
I like it.
I adore it.
I like it. Yeah, and that's a different type of montage because it's not quite the training, but it's still like troubleshooting.
Well,
and it's still
Look,
learning.
the text change
It's
just
technical.
said montage.
It's
It
technical
didn't say
training.
And it
Just
is
said
technical
montage.
training.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I would, and like that being said, now that we've talked about this a little bit, I would absolutely love an 80s style montage between Taeyang and Yang, you know, with a John Williams song like to cover it. and
John
everything.
Williams.
No, oh god, dang it, Jeff Williams.
Okay.
Ugh. Sorry guys.
I was
it's been
like,
a
that's
long day.
what are we spending the budget on next season?
We don't have that kind of money. But anyway, is there anything else you guys want to touch on regarding Yang's side of the story before we move on over to Weiss?
And we got to get to Weiss just because we're out of time.
Let's talk
Yep.
about Weiss. Guys, she and her summoned soldier are going to go on an adventure with Klein, and it's going to be the best.
That soldier's going to carry her like a Machamp in Pokemon Sun. That's for you nerds. But
We just got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, and they're going to go on an adventure.
my favorite thing about Weiss's portion is not just the story stuff, but this is animation-wise, character design-wise, this is the best that Weiss has ever looked, and it
Yes.
shows
It
how
really
far
has.
her character design has come from the White trailer, and I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was noticing that when she was having that confrontation with her father in the previous episode, I was like, the attention to detail on her expressions is better than like it's ever been.
Yeah, her RBF
All
like
of
comes
them.
clear,
Yeah.
so crystal clear.
It's been amazing, and speaking of expressions, we get some good ones when she has this discussion with Whitley, and we find out one of the reasons why he might be as sniveling and conniving as he is. It's because he doesn't have superpowers, guys.
He's his father's son.
He doesn't deserve nothing.
I find it barbaric. It's below people like me and father. People like you and father would be dead if it weren't for people like your sister.
Seriously, and I know it's not like a fallen enemy, but if we could figure out a way to summon Nick so that he can just slap the hell out of Whitley and Jacques, I'd be so down.
It would be fantastic.
Then that's it, and then he's gone. Do you want to say something? No, I just want to beat the hell out of my son-in-law and my grandson.
That's all. Yeah, is Nick? Did Nick die? Is he?
Yeah,
still
he's
going?
gone.
Okay.
No.
No, he said because of all of his journey and all of the
last
dust
we
mines.
heard of him was just that
They said
his health was failing,
and
but
that
they
he
didn't say
was
he
out of
died.
the picture, but that he could be in a nursing home somewhere. He could be drinking with his daughter. He could be. They haven't mentioned him, and they haven't confirmed one way or another.
We
I'm
haven't seen
betting
it.
that he's dead, but we don't have a
I
confirmation.
mean, leave it to Miles to write a show where Santa could save the day. I'm just saying.
Oh, didn't even.
I'm just saying, guys.
Santa, is that you, Santa?
so happy.
Okay, but yeah, she's finally mastered this ability of summoning her fallen
I mean,
foes.
she got it right once. Mastered may not be the.
It also
she's
took a
gotta-
chunk of time for it to happen, so you need to cut
She's
down on the
gotta-
ritual time for that, or you're going to get murdered in
She's
the middle
got
of
a
fight.
general grasp of the concept. Now, do we think she's going to make a break for it immediately, or is she going to bide her time a little bit?
I think she's going to tie some sheets together and go. That window is open.
Girl gone.
I think she should. I think she should go as soon as possible.
And I think Jacques I think he overestimates the amount of loyalty and control he has of the people who work for him. Because she's like, I need a favor. And Klein was like, I'm on board. Like, immediately.
And especially, like, why didn't Whitley come running back? Like, that was a short period of time before getting the door slammed right in your dumb face. And your sister summoning a white knight. He's just like, whatever. Just weird huntress things. I'm going to keep walking.
I don't want to be late for the meeting with father.
And his
Business
business associates.
Yes.
Holding his pinkies up, like, to the
See
fucking
if I
ceiling.
ever ask if you want anything again.
I won't even get it. I just wanted to ask.
I love that we've all kind of gone Stewie Griffin here.
Not quite.
Oh, I guess that's what that
A
is.
little
Love
bit.
that Tim Curry, too. No, there's a big difference between, hey, I'm going to the store, do you want me to pick up something? And you're under house arrest, but I get to leave. Can I bring you some patronization? And maybe a gift.
I was gonna say, so she's got that white knight. If like the white knight could just like mess up Whitley's room like a little bit before they leave.
Well, like, stuff his books.
No, just like freeze the whole thing over and then go.
And
Pull an Elsa, let it go.
I was thinking like
freeze
just
everything
smash
and
all
leave.
his stuff and then leave.
I want to see like the knight stuffing Whitley's books and shoving him in a locker like a nerd because he's a nerd.
And putting all of the games of Parcheesi on the top
Yeah.
shelf in the in the closet
In
so
the
that he can't
attic,
reach
he
him.
can't reach the string.
Anyway, guys, I think that just about does it for that
I think it has to
particular
be.
storyline. Do we have any final thoughts on these 2 episodes?
I don't think any of our alien characters are gonna die.
I hope not.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of predictions going around that Blake's parents are going to die, and I feel like that would be the worst political move.
I really hope that doesn't happen because
But that can take Menagerie over to the White Fang. That makes sense
True.
politically.
I will be mad if that happens. Here's these
Sorry
people.
for interrupting
They're
you.
dead now.
No, I would be very sad because Bagheera is my favorite Jungle Book character, so I would be very sad if they murdered him.
Oh,
well,
Baggy.
guys, I think that just about does it for us tonight. Katie Cullen, where can people go if they want to find you?
You can find me on all of the social medias and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you want to see us react to these episodes live, that is
Live.
live. Well, we're reacting to them while they're live, but we don't stream it or anything. That is, yeah, terms of service with Rooster Teeth. Anyway, the YouTube video, the YouTube channel. You threw me off. You threw off my groove. That YouTube channel is where those videos live. My shows are starting to come back, so kind of keep an eye out for those. But Star Wars Rebels is on Sunday nights now, so see you for that.
Mark?
Hi, you can find me on Twitter at Mark B. Donica. You can find all of us at ABTV Rooster Team on Twitter. Shout out to Alexis, who is a new fan of ours. It is her birthday coming up this week. So welcome to our madness. Happy birthday to you. Speaking of madness, we just started a Twitch channel, which you go to twitchtv.com/ABTV Rooster Team. We had our first stream over the weekend. I streamed with some of our fans. We played Ruby Grimm Eclipse. It was a lot of fun. The whole stream's up there. Go watch it. We're going to do it semi-regularly. Everybody has access to the channel. We're not just going to play Ruby games, but I mean, we might for a little while. Thank you.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all next time.
No groove lost there.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Dust you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.